sit atop Saki's favorite rocks in this age of quarantines. People newly solo, perhaps newly feeling alone. Thought I'd read a little poetry, although it's quite windy, so the camera rig could get blown over and you could completely fail to hear me, and so it goes. We're sitting here along the stream behind the Norway spruce near the Torrey of the Golden Ice, among the bamboo, next to the young magnolia with the Spanish sword at our feet. And, old wolf hollow laying here, great blue herons nesting just up above. There's a line of Scotch pine here, or Scots pine. And so I didn't pre-select any poetry. I'm going to just thumb through and see what I move to read. And the first one is a red pine translation here, and it's called In Such Hard Times, which I doubt you can read, but at any rate, can you see that? It's a Wei Ying Wu, this is the poet. And I think I'll set these down here and we'll see what Seafood Porter has for us here. So the first one is Living in Seclusion. The good old Hermit. This was written in 781 in Shamfu Temple. And the commentary here says the birds are looking for a place to nest, perhaps under Wei's eaves where it's nice and quiet. It's hard to say if Wei's use of qian, which is translated as lame, here is figurative or refers to his chronic foot ailment. From the Taoist point of view, the only person who is truly content is worthy of veneration. Somebody just flew right into my eye. The rich and the poor are different, but they all go forth to earn a living. Only someone without material attachments can pursue this life of seclusion. After the lightest of rains last night, spring plants all at once appeared. Dark mountains were suddenly bright. Birds circled my hut and sang. Sometimes I join men of the way. Sometimes I follow woodcutters. I accept being lame and incompetent. But who says I disdain worldly glory? That's Living in Seclusion. Rather apt selection. If you're playing the home game, that occurs on page 78 of this volume. This is called Cold Food Day to my cousins. Commentary. Written in the late spring of 783 in Chuzhou, cold food occurred 150 days after the winter solstice, or just before grave sweeping day, and included a ban on the use of fire to heat or cook for up to 3 days. Wei was with his cousins at their home on the Tuling Plateau during this time the previous year. Cold Food Day to my cousins. The fire ban darkens an auspicious day. I still feel the pain of our parting. Seeing these flower-covered fields reminds me of the trails on Tuling. When will we ride together again? I'm feeling much older today. Thank you, Wei. I think the Fallen volume will be next. This is Seeking the Cave. This is James Linfesti, and the subtitle of the book is A Pilgrimage to Cold Mountain, Seeking the Cave. Again, no idea if you can see this or if it's sharp and in focus. Pilgrimage to Cold Mountain, Seeking the Cave. This is called Cold Mountain Number 1 on page 163. The second poem in that was on page 109, which I think I neglected to say. This is page 163 of Seeking the Cave by James Linfesti. Cold Mountain Number 1. My father and mother left me a good living. I need not envy the fields of other men. Clack, clack, my wife works her loom. Jabber, jabber, goes my son at play. I clap hands, urging on the swirling petals. Chin in hand, I listen to singing birds. Who comes to commend me on my way of life? Well, the woodcutter sometimes passes by. This is page 181, a piece called Steady Work. I feel like maybe I'll read both of the poems here. Steady Work. Steady work is poetry. Every night, late, or every morning, early, with the busy world settled to a forgotten dot or hum. No sense saving it up, there's always more. The dark well has no bottom, the dark sky boundless space. No wages, but no cost. A bit of ink, a scrap of paper, courage to climb down, wings to slowly rise. So I think I will read this another poem on the same page, 181. The title is Final Sound at Gwalching Temple. Final sound at Gwalching Temple. After the tide of noisy pilgrims withdraws, cicada song, the long arc of their longing pitched high as the bowl of sky. So that is the song ringing in my ears. Tinnitus, the doctors say. I have no choice but to listen, night and day. Out of the ground I crawled, up the rough bark of an ancient tree. At 62, nearer the crown than the roots, I pause, rub my bones together, and wait for your reply. Thank you. See you for the Limb Festival. This is Menghal-jan Mountain Poems, translated by David Hinton. Menghal-jan in the collection Mountain Poems. These ones really work for me. Hermit at my most extroverted. This is entitled Spending the Night at Abbot Ye's Mountain Home, Dragon Cascade Monastery. I await Master Ting, who never arrives. Late sun crosses beyond western ridge lines, leaving canyons and valleys suddenly dark. Pine and moon begin night's gradual chill. Wind and stream fill this listening clarity, and woodcutters make their way back home as burns returned to mist begin settling in. My friend was coming tonight. Alone here with my chin, I wade out an overgrown path. I like to imagine the swaying of the trees and the knocking of the branches as the applause. The forest's response to poetry. So this is page 63. I think I forgot to mention the page previous. That was page 36. Spending the night at Abbot Ye's mountain home, Dragon Cascade Monastery. I await Master Ting, who never arrives. And so now I'm going to read from page 63, the Mountain Poems, translation David Hayton, and Menghal John is the poet. This is entitled On Returning to My Mountains for the Chan Abbot Clarity Deep. Chan is the early Chinese term that became Zen in the now better known Japanese expression of that idea. On returning to my mountains for the Chan Abbot Clarity Deep, I heard the unborn inner pattern, young and always practiced seeing through self. But we rarely follow mind's deep impulse. This life's rugged path is often full of dust. Now back to old canyons in my twilight, I find myself a neighbor to Clarity Deep. Amid forests, rejoicing in kindred spirits, we sit perfecting the mat's jewel together. Contemplate this drift on seas of suffering, teachings lost in a surging, swelling world. Using Dharma's subtle mystery, you guide us into that crystalline purity of origins, where karma's travail ends in tranquility, mountain and forest feelings flourishing. I come at dawn asking after some answer, And by dusk, our talk touches clarity whole. Like your dark brush exhausting ancient truths, its words startling human realms, compassing a bamboo hut's empty silence. Herbs and flowers blur winter into spring. Here, cascade spray flecks cap and robe. Inkstone and chin perch atop table rock. To fathom the erasure of insight, we watch dusk and dawn composing the wild gulls. Thank you, Sifu Meng. David Hinton, Hunger Mountain. My bookmarks. I flipped to page 108, so here we are. This has no title on page 108. I don't believe. I still don't believe. To hear autumn rain falling on Hunger Mountain is to long for the sound of autumn rain falling on Hunger Mountain. To hear autumn rain falling on Hunger Mountain is to hear autumn rain falling on Hunger Mountain. To hear autumn rain falling on Hunger Mountain is autumn rain falling on Hunger Mountain. To hear autumn rain falling on Hunger Mountain is autumn rain falling on Hunger Mountain. Autumn rain falling on Hunger Mountain, hearing rainfall, longing. Thank you, Sifu Hinton. Thank you. This may be your first time with social distancing. This may be your first time with self-isolation. This may be your first time with quarantine. This may be your first visit to a hermitage. There's much wisdom on offer from those who have trod this path, sat in this way, lived this life. Thank you.